Kia ora e te whānau. So what are we doing today? We are just going to put, look how lovely that goes with the whole journal, the base on our cover. So this is quite a job in itself, so the decorating will come next week. We will also have to do a video where we decorate this side, so I'll be collaging this side today and showing you how to do this. It's really a collaged fabric. I wouldn't call it patchwork, it just kind of looks patchy. So without any further ado, let's get going. Okay, so our first part, we need to collage the back. So I have just got some of my mat board. You could use chipboard. I think we do want it reasonably thick for the cover. This would be, sorry, in metric, about 2 millimeters thick. And all I have done is taken one of our pages and I have measured it and cut it to that size, making sure that it's not too much bigger. I want it almost identical in size because I want all the little bits to stick out the side. Then I'm going to collage, but how I want to collage is when I glue these on, I want to leave them over the edge so that I can tuck them over. That's going to cover all of these edges, which I'm going to need to do because when I do the patchwork, I am going to do the patchwork on a piece of cardboard and I'm going to glue it to this. So I won't ever have a chance later to cover the edges. So when these are all glued around, all of these edges are going to be covered. Now this is just basic collage. I'm just going to use my glue stick, but when I adhere these ones down over the other side and around the edges, I'm going to use a little bit of PVA or Mod Podge. So this is just scrap paper. This one here is from the gel print wipe off and the rest is just from my scraps. So use whatever scraps you have. A lot of this is going to be covered anyway. Okay, I do like to start just by putting down a reasonably big piece. That way you can stick bits over it, but you've got a good part of it covered. So I'll do that first. So if you are following along and you have the Come Make a Journal With Me ringbound kit, you will notice that in this folder this week, obviously because I'm using scraps and fabric, there's not a lot in there. That's just due to the process that we're doing for the cover. Don't worry, next week I'm sure there will be a whole heap in the folder. I will pop this gel print wipe off in there so that you can find it, and I will put a photo of the finished project on both sides so that you can get a really good look at the layout. Now this little piece of paper here is really brittle. You'll see bits break off. I have decided I really do want to use it, but I won't use it folding around the edges. I will just use it as little accents within and around the collage. You'll notice that this collage is mostly neutral. The only spot of colour is that wipe off green, and I'm just using a couple of little pieces of that. I can't leave that one spot up the top on its own because you can see even now it's kind of unbalanced. It's quite heavy at the top. So I will put another little piece at least down the bottom right corner or the bottom left corner or both, just to add a little bit of balance to the canvas, and you'll see that when I put it in that it makes sense. See how this part here, when I put it on there, it just helps bring it all together. And I mean, you could put another little piece at the bottom left. If I were to do that, it would be an even smaller piece again, and that will just, yeah, once again help with the balance. If you're new here, welcome, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. Settle in, grab a cup of tea, get cozy. I will pop the digital pack link in the description below if you're interested, but feel free just to use these ideas with your own journal or just to have a watch. So I'm pretty happy with that. I should have now enough to fold over all around the edges. So I'll just quickly grab my PVA. Okay, so I've just got a little bit of PVA. It says fabric glue, but it's not. It's just PVA glue. And I might actually just put a layer down underneath, because you all know how messy I am. And this is really simple. A few of you, bless, so sweet, mentioned that you're sad that this is coming to an end. Well, it's not yet, because even though we are making the cover, I still want to put quite an interactive feature on the inside of the journal cover and on the inside of the back of the journal cover. So we've still got a couple of pages, so to speak, that we still need to do. I will say this is a reasonably thick PVA glue, and I want to do that so that I don't warp my board too much with the glue, because the more watered down the glue is, the more it absorbs into the surface of what you're putting it on. So the stickier the glue, the better I find in this case. Two ways you can do this. I usually just rip that bit off. You could cut it carefully. You could just fold it over and have slightly thicker corners. I really don't think it matters too much. And just continue around all the four sides. Then just smush those in a little bit. I'll just put a little bit of glue under these little bits here that are lifting, because they've got the double layers and they're not liking the PVA mixed with the glue stick. There you go, one collaged inside cover. And now I'm just going to get some Mod Podge. I'll just let this dry first. I'm just going to lightly ink those edges as well. Okay, I've got some Mod Podge to the side here. I use the matte one. I dropped some metal part that I was trying to glue in there at one stage. And it's never to be found again. So I'm trying not really to get any on the actual back here, because I'm still going to need that nice and clear to glue the patchwork on. And I'm just going to go around the edges like that, just sealing it a little bit, making it a little bit more durable. And then I am just going to go over the whole thing just lightly, so that you can't see the edge. And like I say, I have inked that as well. So I will just continue doing that, and I will come back once it's dry. Okay, so there we go, all nice and dry. And I have just cut, this is just 240 GSM card, slightly smaller, as you can see, because I don't want to, I'm going to go a little bit over it with the fabric, because I don't want to see this at all. Not that you will, because I have another, my mapping out. Another little trick, like the collage board. This is, it's not patchwork, it's just collaged fabric that I'm going to cover this with. So I'm just going to lay down this base. This is just like a cotton drill. Lisa gave me this, so I'm glad I can finally use it. Thank you, Lisa. So I'm just going to use some like Fabri-Tac, but for me it's glue, G-L-O-O, just a clear acetone based glue. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there. I'm going to put this down, and then I'm going to start working patchwork over the top. I will probably trim that down though, so that it's just a bit bigger than that. Now I am going to be sewing it all around the edges. You don't have to, just use a little bit more glue than what I am when I make mine, if you're not going to sew it or you don't have a machine. And other than that, I will probably just film this and voice over it if I need to say anything. Smooth it down nice and neat. Give it a quick trim, still leaving about 1/4 inch. Just check that it's the right size. And now similar again, I'm just going to make sure that the colour has nice gaps between it before I use it again. But overall this is quite a neutral masterboard. So I'm just going to place it first without gluing, make sure I'm happy with the composition, and then when I'm happy I will start to glue it down. You'll notice even with the laces and the trims that I'm using, even though they're different, because they're textured, I try to space those out as well, like I do if they were a colour. Now, if you're sewing, you'll notice that when I'm gluing, I'm only putting a bit of glue right in the middle of that, just to keep it in place, because I don't really want to put my needle through any more glue than I have to. If you're not sewing, you don't have to worry about this at all. You can glue to your heart's content, and I would actually recommend that you give it a proper glue down right around the edges and in the middle. So now when I put this piece of trim down here, to me this looks bottom heavy. So you'll just notice that I put a little bit of thin lace up the top in a second, just to balance it again, and you should be able to see that it balances better. And just give it a quick trim wherever you need to. And I'm going to take it away and sew it, and I'm not fussy about it. I'm quite happy that it looks quite rustic, and quite a bit of that is going to be covered up anyway. So now we have to glue it to the actual cover. This is the glue that I use, GLOO, very much like Fabri-Tac. Just going to make sure I use my glue spreader, and then I'm going to take the other piece, and I'm just going to make sure that I put glue right on that cardboard edge. And I'm a bit fussy about this because I don't want that to be seen ever again. Just going to put it under something heavy to dry and sew around those edges. Okay, there we go. It's all cleaned up now, and I've just sewn around the edges. And before you ask, no, my sewing machine doesn't like going through that mat board, but it tolerates me going through that mat board. So there we go. We've got our base, and quite a bit of this will eventually be covered as well. So, and that side. So I don't need to worry too much about how big that is. I'm thinking maybe we'll put an oval frame on there or something, but this is enough for this week. It'll give you something to do, that's for sure. So until next time, my lovelies, thank you for being with me, thank you for crafting with me, and mā te wā.